Okay, everybody. I'm just going to run you quickly through the NCACL website, particularly how to navigate the databases. So what you can see on here is the NCACL homepage. Up the top here, we've got the URL, so ncacl.org.au. So to get to the database, you go into under the Our Resources tab and click on Resources. Okay, and here you come up to the Resources page. Now there's lots of resources here, but Databases is just here. And you can see NCACL has 3 databases, which will all be very useful for you. Picture books for older readers, the Cultural Diversity Database, and the one that you need to be using for your final assessment, the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander resource. So if you just click on that, it will open the database for you. And from here, there's just a little bit of information about the database, but you need to go to the resource page. Now, all of these will open in a new window. Now, once you're in the database, if you know specifically what book you're after or the annotation you're after, you can search by title and annotation here and click search. Otherwise, there are some advanced filter options, or you can just scroll through the whole database when it comes up. There's a lot of pictures on here, so it takes a little while to load. So you can either choose to look at the book jackets or a list of book titles. I personally often find it's easier to look at the jackets because teachers, we have this uncanny ability to remember the colour of the cover of the book rather than the title. Anyway, so you can see here, if you just want to scroll through, there's 52 pages of books. So there's a lot of books in this database, remembering that some of them have been translated into language, and then some are in English as well. So there'll be multiple copies of some books. So you might want to be searching for a particular author, for example. So you can just go straight into the advanced filter. I might want to search for Curly Saunders, knowing that, okay, so she's got Bindi is the book that we've been reading this semester, but does she have any other books? So you can just type in her name and then click search, and you can see that there are 4 of her books on the database. From here, you can find out more information then by clicking directly on the cover of the book. So you click on view this item. So we'll just have a look and see what sort of resources there are about Bindi. We click on Bindi. And again, because of the number of pictures in the site, it does take a little while to load, but we get there eventually. So just while it's loading, you can search by illustrator if you know the name of the illustrator, or by the publisher as well. And I think the publication date, but I might be wrong about that. We'll see in a minute. Anyway, so we've got Bindi up here. You've got all the basic standard information up the top, the title, the author, the illustrator or illustrators, the publisher, and the year of publication. So you can see this book, Bindi, was published by Magabala Books, which is an Australian First Nations publisher. The audience, that's really important too. It's designed for primary and specifically for upper primary. You have a bucket load of curriculum links here and the early years learning framework, and that little plus thing just tells you that there's more than what you can see here. So if you were to click on that, it would give you the whole list of curriculum links. ISBN is sometimes useful for searching in other databases. And then the language or languages that the book has been translated into. So, of more interest down here are these three areas. So, the subjects, you click on that, you have a list of the themes or the topic areas that are covered in the book. Now, this is really useful if you're searching for books on a particular theme. So you might be searching for books that have the theme of land management or verse novels or climate or fire or whatever. So that's a really good way to narrow down your search. The annotation, some of them are longer than others. This one's quite long. So the annotation generally gives you information, might be a synopsis of the book. It might talk about the themes of the book. Sometimes it will give you information about, where to start with your teaching. So for teachers exploring poetry, the book offers some enticing experiments. We'll tell you also a little bit about the illustrator often, and a little bit about the author, including, so for the author and illustrator, where they're from. Okay. And then the teaching resources. Yeah, and I always say don't invent the wheel, just restructure it a little bit to suit your class. But you can see here with Bindi, there are quite a few teaching resources of varying types. So Reading Australia has would be a very comprehensive source. Curly Saunders on her website, she has an about the author. She's also got workshops on writing poetry. There's another Reading Australia source. And then undergroundwriters.org did an interview with the illustrator Dub Leffler there as well. So that's Bindi. So if we go back here, just so you can search, as I said, by publisher. So if I put in a search for Megabala Books, okay, and click on search there, again, got 13 pages of books that have been published by Megabala, which is awesome, I think. So again, if I click on one of those, Alfred's War will come up and will give us the same information there as well. So ISBN, the curriculum links, the themes in the book, the annotation, which is a little bit shorter than Bindi's was, but it's got nothing to do with the quality of the book. It was just who did the annotation. And then the teaching resources. So again, you can see that Reading Australia has nabbed this book as being quality literature and written some resources around it. There's also teaching resources that you can find related to the themes at the War Memorial, solidarity.net.au. So lots of stuff, anything that the people who write these notes can find that will be useful for you in the classroom. Okay, and the last thing I just want to show you is if I happen to know that Nicole Godwin, for example, is an author from the ACT, and I know that she wrote a book with Duncan Smith, who is a Ngunnawal elder, I think. But I also know that she wrote a whole stack of other books. Now, if I just do a search for Nicole in the Aboriginal and or Torres Strait Islander resource, you might be wondering if all of Nicole's books come up, but they don't. So it's only the books that are under this theme that come up. If I was to search for Nicole under just the general search, you would see how many books that she's actually got up there. So that's pretty much it. This is a fantastic resource. You are required to use it for your final assessment, but go forth and make use of it in future years as well, because we are so, so lucky to have this resource attached to the university.